In this scenario, land is illegally occupied by disgruntled groups. This eventually leads to confiscation without compensation, a shift in policy that is made possible by a change in the constitution. But how does occupation and confiscation happen? Well, the story takes place in a context of slow economic growth, deepening poverty, and rising inequality. As public resources decline and pressure mounts on government, the ruling party will see its support base dwindle, especially in light of an expanding urban population. In the face of these challenges, leaders from government, business, and civil society blame each other for the harsh social and economic conditions. Meanwhile, the land reform program continues to deliver poor results, but no effective action is taken. Driven by deepening hardship and hunger, popular frustration with the status quo continues to grow. This is the impetus for the growth of a landless people's movement that operates in collaboration with the more militant opposition parties. In the face of continued government inaction, the landless then embark on a countrywide campaign of land invasion and occupation. Ideologically, this illegal occupation is driven by belief that land in South Africa is a symbol of dispossession under colonialism and apartheid. Thus, landless people feel that it is within their rights to take back the land for themselves. Faced with these illegal occupations, the government fears anarchy, and following its 2022 conference, the ruling party sides with the militant opposition to amend the constitution. The illegal occupation of land is therefore ratified as confiscation without compensation. Court challenges to the new dispensation prove futile, and within a few years, agricultural investment dries up and commercial farming starts to collapse. However, the ruling party's political maneuver backfires. 60% of commercial farmland is now in the hands of black South Africans, and opposition parties are given credit for transforming land ownership. As a result, the ANC loses the 2029 elections. By 2030, land reform as a systematic state-driven program has been overrun by popular movements who have driven the process from below. The land is now in the hands of the occupiers, and former farm owners have either left the sector or moved to other parts of Africa that are more welcoming. Without adequate investment and skills transfer from the former farmers, the agricultural infrastructure of the country is collapsing. And while on some farms a surplus is still marketed, on others production is virtually at subsistence levels. This results in a huge decrease in national agricultural production and an increasing reliance on imported food. In addition, the new government comprises a coalition of former opposition parties who have competing views on land and agriculture. There is no longer a clear constitutional framework for dealing with land, and no policies for agricultural development that take account of the new reality. Following occupation and confiscation, investment dries up, and the government needs to try raise money from its BRICS allies. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of farm occupiers go hungry, along with many of the urban poor. The future is uncertain. In this scenario, land is illegally occupied by disgruntled groups. This eventually leads to confiscation without compensation.